Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. Before we begin, don't forget to like, comment, share and subscribe. Now here's the story.
Trigger warning spoiler, cancer death. I am dying and I have to tell my kids. Hello everyone. Made a throwaway account for this. I 43F have been married to my husband 40M for 13, almost 14 years. We wanted to start a family right away, so we had our oldest, 12M, right after we got married. Then we had our second, 10M, and had twins, 8M and F. We've been happy as we can be given the situation. When I was pregnant with the twins, something was off. My breathing became a lot harder than it usually is, which is not the best given I have asthma. I thought it was stress or something, but when the twins were 6 months old, I passed out and woke up in the hospital. There the doctor told me I had aggressive stage 3 lung cancer. My husband owns his own business and made sure to tell me that money was no object when it came to saving my life. He was there for everything. But as time went on, we had to move in with my friend, who fell on hard times because I couldn't take care of 4 children. I couldn't ride bikes with them. I couldn't swim with them. I couldn't even walk with them. It's come and gone over the past 8 years. My husband got a 6-bedroom house, so everyone has a room, and even installed an elevator because I can't go up and down the stairs anymore. I've been permanently on oxygen for 2 years now, so it's myself, my friend, my 4 kids and dog. Well, today I had an appointment with the doctor, and he said the results of my CT scan were back, as we check on the cancer via CT scan every couple of months. The cancer has spread to my pancreas, liver, uterus, and kidneys. There's nothing they can do. I went into immediate shock, but my husband, God bless him, began to talk about different treatment plans if they could send me anywhere. The doctor said I've been on chemo for essentially 8 years and it's metastasized. There's tumors all over my body. I'm willing to go back to the hospitals I've been to, but I don't want to put my family in debt only for me to die. When my husband asked for a specific amount of time, the doctor said 6 months at best. At that point, I fainted. When I woke back up, my husband was beside me and my sister and mother were there too. They all had puffy red eyes, so I knew they were crying. My husband saw I was awake and held me and sobbed silently, just whispering it will be okay over and over again. I was in the hospital for a day before they let me out, but I told my husband I wanted to sign a DNR. He wanted to argue, saying that I was going to pull through. Maybe if it was just my lungs I would believe it, but it's several major organs and I know things only get worse from here. I told him my kidneys would fail, my liver would fail. He and my children will have to watch me die. And if he thinks he can keep me intubated for months on end, he has another thing coming. He then started to sob loudly, saying this isn't fair. We were each other's first and only. We built such a great life together. We were supposed to grow old together, see our grandkids, see the world more once it opens up. That he'd put so much time into his business that should have been spent with me. He was inconsolable. I was crying as well, but oddly I'm not that upset I'm dying. I'm not sure if it's the shock or the gravity of the situation just hasn't hit me yet, but I've already come to terms with this. But I told my husband we need to tell the kids what's going on. He adamantly refused, saying that they're going to find the right combinations of drugs to get rid of the cancer. Well, I don't even know how I'm supposed to approach this situation. I know as soon as I sit down I'm going to cry and they're going to get true. At the same time, they deserve to know exactly what's going on with me. I don't know what I'm meant to do here, but my friend told me to come here for help. I'm also looking for advice as to what to do with my husband, as I don't know if I can help him or not. What can I do for him? Can I make him feel better? Any advice is welcome. Eat it. The grief counselor is coming over to talk to the kids with us at 3. I hate to jump them after school, but I know they deserve to know. My husband has come to terms and we've signed the DNR. We are looking through my will and I will make an update tonight if I can. My husband has not left my side since this all happened. Thank you all for the advice. So this blew up and I'm sorry. I'm still replying to comments and I don't know how to make an update yet. We had a busy day. We signed the DNR that. We are in the process of working on my will. We are setting up trust funds for the kids. But I think I should go to what happened at around 1:15. My dad, who had abused my mom for 25 years, came over. He was pissed drunk and he had his new wife, a 21-year-old, and their 8-month-old daughter. I am not his by blood, as my mom cheated and he used to do things such as blow cigarette smoke into my face and put out cigarettes on me. It's part of the reason as to why my husband and I are so close. I would go to his house when I was hurt, and oftentimes he would send me there. They called Skips multiple times, but he would cover up my scars with makeup and say if I said anything he would kill me. He stumbled into my lawn. My mom, uncle who is a cop and was on duty but on break, and my longtime friend were on the other side of my screen door. I can't get the vaccine because I'm immunocompromised, and I'd rather not get COVID. My uncle immediately stopped him and asked what he was doing here. He slurred that he wanted to tell my mother she's getting what she deserves and I am going to hell. They had a back and forth until my friend asked if he drove here. He said yes, and my uncle, no hesitation, cuffed him. His wife took the illegally owned fund from my dad's waistband and pointed it somewhere. She was very drunk as well. My uncle tased her and arrested her as well, and if we're lucky I'll die before they're let out. But on to telling the kids. It didn't go well at all. They were picked up by my friend, and when they came inside to see me, my husband, my mom, my sister, and the grief counselor all sitting, they knew something was up. My oldest asked if we were getting a divorce, and I said no, but to sit down. It was a lot of guidance on the counselor's part. He helped us word it correctly. But when it came out that I was going to die in 6 months, my oldest ran upstairs. My friend yelled his name and ran upstairs after him. The second oldest ran to his dad. The third went to his grandma, and my daughter picked up our dog. I had to remind her to be careful as she's 17. How she's still alive is beyond me. There were a lot of tears and questions, but we made sure to know they were loved, and that we love them no matter what, and that they will be okay. I got lightheaded, the chemo makes me sick and tired, and I had to go lay down. My oldest has a crawl space in his room. We made his own personal space. It has pictures of Power Rangers, pictures of us as a family, and his gaming stuff is in that space, and it can be locked. The only 2 people besides him that has a key are myself and my husband. So my husband went upstairs, and sure enough, he was in there. Currently, he's in the space with him. My daughter has not let go of the dog, but she's just happy to be included. LOL. Currently, my daughter is sleeping next to me with her head on my chest and dog in arms. The boys don't want to talk to me. From what my husband could gather, they're mad at me for going away. I know it's hard, and I hope the counselor is talking to them. I've thrown up a couple times, as now when I'm under stress I throw up. My husband wanted to make sure I was okay, but I insisted he make sure our oldest is okay, because he and I are so close. I'm the one that got him into Power Rangers, and I'm the one that watched it with him and took him to conventions with me, and he absolutely loves them now. He and I share a lot of the same interests, and I don't yell at my kids. Instead, I do the whole I'm disappointed thing, which they say is honestly worse. But when he has a problem, he comes to me. I've told him no matter what, men are allowed to be emotionally vulnerable to their mothers, and no one should judge them for it. I told the other 2 the same thing, but they go to their dad more. I hope he's okay. I hope they're not mad at me for too long. My daughter asked if I could watch over her when I'm in heaven, and I told her I would watch over all of them. Did I handle it well? Is there any more advice? What could I have done differently? Edit, my husband and I just had a fight, which isn't surprising really. But he said I wasn't losing anyone because I'm the one that's leaving, as if I chose this. I told him I'm losing my family and friends. Everyone and thing I've ever loved is going to be gone. All I will have is God. And he flipped a table and screamed, if I love him so much, why don't I make it easier and just leave? As soon as he said it, though, his eyes widened and he covered his mouth and said he was sorry in rapid succession over and over. I just started to cry, which is the first time I've cried since hearing from news. He just held me, and I cried so hard I had to be taken back to the hospital because I couldn't breathe. He won't even look at me now. It's not his fault. He didn't mean anything of what he said. I told him as much, but he won't even talk to me. He's just holding my hand, and I told him the kids are shutting me out. I can't deal with him doing it too. He left the room, and this is the first time I can recall being alone in a hospital, and I really don't like it. Well, I'd like to start out and say thank you so much for all of your support. It means a lot. I've gotten DMs for an update, and unfortunately, it's not a good one. Last week they found a tumor in my brain, and I now have 2 months at most. I don't know how they could have missed it. The only reason we went to check it out was I was having the worst headaches of my life. My husband is still on about my God not being merciful. He has refused to go to church. My friend has been taking the kids to church. I do online worship. But on the bright side, we have a new dog. She's a hairless poodle who is a year old. She lost her old family in the fire, and we thought we would adopt her. This was before I was given the original diagnosis. As to whether or not her fur will come back, I'm not sure, but she's like a service dog to our old dog. She keeps her from walking into things and gives her cuddles when my daughter isn't holding her. My kids are finally spending time with me. We've been watching Power Rangers for the past week, but I have had to step away more than once because of my headaches. My husband is still holding out for a cure. He stopped going to his mom to cry. and just stays with me now since he wants to spend as much time as possible with me. We've also decided I shouldn't be driving in this state, so I will no longer be driving. We decided when he's old enough out, oldest should get the car, since it's only a 2014 model. Until then, I'm not sure what my husband will be doing with it, but he said he doesn't want to get rid of it. Someone suggested as a last vacation I should go with my family to a cabin in the woods, and I think that's a stellar idea. Before we're reliant on hospice. I'm on it now. They give me medication for my pain and send different doctors and even a priest. They're very nice, they don't mind being sprayed down, and they offer to sit and talk for a little bit sometimes. I just can't believe any of this is happening. Last month we were talking about when I get better. We had a list of places we were going to go, things I could do again, but now I can't. My husband said he will take the kids on a tour of my better places when the world opens up again. We also bought grave plots, one for me, my husband, and my friend. She's been amazing the past 7 years taking care of my children, cooking dinners, cleaning the house, helping with homework, sports, music lessons. We decided that if she wanted to be buried with us, she can, and she cried and said yes. I know God will take care of me when I go, and he will take care of my husband, children, and friend when I'm gone. Some of you suggested that my husband and my friend were sleeping together. Even if they were, we have an open marriage on his side, because when I got sick I couldn't be intimate with him, and I told him he has needs and he can fulfill them and I won't be mad. So, I don't really care one way or another. As for my dad, he and his wife got bailed out, but it's understood if they come near my family again, they will get hurt. My father is also coming over. We met on 23andMe. He never knew he had children, as the fling with my mom was a drunken one-night stand, and he said he honestly didn't even know he'd slept with someone that night, to show how drunk he was. He's from Scotland and has to quarantine when he gets over, but he said he plans on moving over here to be with his grandchildren and son, as he says my husband is his son. He says we didn't get enough time together, and had he known who I was, and that I was abused by my dad so much, he would have taken me to Scotland, but then I wouldn't have my husband. He's devastated by the news of my illness taking a turn for the worst, as he's lost his own mother and sister to cancer as well. Turns out it runs on his side of the family. All in all, I am doing as well as I can be. And to those of you who offered to send me presents, please donate to your local charity. If you were offering to make me something, make it for your local children's hospital, as they would love the blanket, stuffed animal, or drawings you have to make. I don't feel comfortable accepting anything, and I don't want to accept something and get sick from COVID, even if you weren't sending it maliciously. I'm sorry this update is not the best, but remember, God has a plan for us all. God bless you all, and I hope you have a great day. This is an update, but my oldest is 12M. My second is 10M, and my twins are 8MF. They were mad at me, and I still think they are. They're really scared is what I think. Hopefully there is a random miracle, but it was originally lung cancer, and it went into my major organs. It's pretty much everywhere you can think. When I was pregnant with the twins, I felt awful, but I thought it was because I was pregnant with twins. It didn't get any better after they were born, and I collapsed after 6 months, and that's when they told me I had stage 3 lung cancer. I was crying and in shock, but my husband was immediately discussing treatment plans and what to do from there. I've had this disease for the past 8 years, and I guess it's finally overwhelming me. I wish I had more time, but maybe there's a reason God chose me. I wouldn't change a thing if I could, as getting treatment when I first felt off would have meant killing the twins, and I would never be capable of doing that. Edit 2. We're trying to pull the kids out of school completely and re-enroll them after I die. We figured they could make up whatever work they've missed in the summer. Is that legal? Should they have a sense of normalcy in this craziness? They've all said they can be homeschooled, but they're also willing to not go at all. On the one hand, they might never forgive themselves if they spend time they could have been spending with me. I'm school, but on the other, they might get overwhelmed with the stress of it all. Hello everyone. Sorry for the long text in advance. This is my wife's account, since I don't have I want my own account, and you can read her posts better on this account. I wish this was a happy post, but it is not. I find writing therapeutic, and so many of you have been in the DMs with her, wishing her well. Someone was exchanging Bible verses and someone else was just letting her rant. She called you her internet friends, and she was so happy she could help you with whatever. A lot of you called her an inspiration, which she really was. I found a pink notebook that just said the usernames and the relationship of a dead relative. She titled it People to Greet in Heaven. I am the husband of the woman who said she was dying. We have 4 kids, 12-year-old boy J, 10-year-old boy K, and twin 8-year-old boy, Elandurel. I am 40 and my wife was 43. Yesterday morning I went to kiss her good morning and she was cold and unresponsive. I said her name several times and I shook her like that would have done anything. I just made a loud noise. It was a combination of a shriek and a sob. This woke my children and our friend who also lives with us. Our friend has been taking care of our children since my wife got sick and I was growing my business. They came to my room and Jay pushed past our friend and got onto the bed. He touched her and froze. The look on his face is not something I will soon forget. I just grabbed him and sobbed really hard. Soon, all of the children were in the bed and crying with us. I just can't believe I slept next to the dead body of my wife, or what the people at the morgue can discern, about 6 hours, though they can't be certain. I didn't even get to say goodbye. There was no hand-holding as she took her final breath. It was just dead in the morning. This weekend we had our romantic getaway in the house. We were supposed to do it next week, but due to her getting sicker, we decided to move it to this week. We also went to a cabin with the kids, our friend and our 2 dogs. One is an old girl. I don't keep track, but she did. I stopped keeping track. The other is a year-old, both rescues, both girls. As a bit of background, we grew up on the same block. We went to the same school. We started to date when I was 11 and she was 14, but we never kissed until high school and never slept with each other until I turned 18. She was abused her entire life. Her mom gave her dad her entire college fund after finding out what the pin was by threatening to kill her dog, which, by the way, her dad killed our Dan. After that, my parents took her in and sent her to college. I went to the same one, and when I was in my 2nd semester, she asked me to marry her. I told her we had to get our life together first. I should have just married her then. Then, when I got out of college, I started a business making equipment to sanitize medical equipment, and I also had people go to sanitize medical equipment when necessary. As you can imagine, the last year has been great financially. Once that got off the ground, I accepted her proposal, and we were married and immediately started trying for a baby. Once she said she was pregnant, I went crazy and would not stop kissing her. I kissed her. I kissed her belly. I was so happy I was going to be a dad. I am an only child and was a bit lonely growing up. You know, when my wife wasn't around, so I wanted to have 5 children. I wanted to have a household where there was always laughter or crying or screaming. I love children, especially babies and toddlers, and even when they're spitting up, I can't get enough. After getting pregnant again, I was over the moon, and again I would not stop kissing her. When Jay ran over to me after getting off work, I pretended to fall over and struggled to get back up. But when I kissed my wife, I kissed her belly as well. But then came the twins. At first, I was so happy she was pregnant with twins, but if I had known what I know now, I would have pushed for treatment. I love Elle and M, I do, but if I could have my wife over them, I would. Does that make me a bad father? Maybe her pregnancy was so bad. See, she was having a hard time breathing, harder than she should have. I should have marched her right to a hospital to get it checked out, but she insisted it was fine. It was okay. We are almost certain now that this is where it all started. She had a very hard labor with the twins. Then, when she got home, she was coughing a lot and wheezing. She would wake up a lot due to being unable to breathe, but she thought nothing of it. The twins messed up her oxygen level or something. She was always getting up anyway due to the twins being double the care. Then, when they were about 6 months old, she said she really didn't feel good. She was pale and looked really bad. She kissed me goodnight and went upstairs and she just collapsed. I was in shock. I shook her and said her name and lightly slapped her several times. She was unconscious, and against my better judgment, I called her mom as my parents were on a business trip and said, "You get one chance. Watch them, but he comes near. You're dead to all of us." We left in the ambulance and I was freaking out as soon as the doors closed, so my children wouldn't see. I told them I didn't know what this could be. They said her oxygen level was lower than it should be. How they knew that, I don't know. I cleaned the stuff and that's it. When she woke up, the doctor told us it was stage 3 lung cancer, and I wanted to cry. I want to yell, I wanted to throw things, but I couldn't. She was crying, and I had to be the strong one, so I started talking about what we could do. It was really hard. So you bet, when they said your wife only has 6 months to live, I was still shocked. But she fainted this time, so I cried and immediately called my parents. But when we went for the headaches and they said it's now in her brain and there's only 2 months left, I broke down. I couldn't be the strong one anymore. I wish I could have been there for her when she died. After the body was removed, my parents came. I didn't call them, and I guess my friend called. When they got upstairs, my mom came for me and held me while my dad went for the kids. I don't like her mom, as she allowed her to be abused by the man she claims is the greatest thing to have ever happened to her. Even though he cheated on and abused her, and she cheated on him and conceived my wife. The only good thing she's ever done, really. He groomed her at around 13 and she had his first child at 15. Did I mention when he met her he was 25? And her parents didn't care. Because my wife was not her husband's child, she agreed she was to be treated awfully and took part in the abuse. She gave him her college fund because she needed to pay up for not being his blood. But I did end up calling her, and he showed up before she did, and I made it clear to him that he was not to attend the funeral. That security would throw him out the instant he showed his face, and her mom was to leave after saying her goodbye. She is not well liked by my family or children because she keeps bringing them around him. She tried to make my wife's death all about her, and it got me so mad I would have hit her if my mom hadn't kicked her out and banned her from the funeral. I have been an absolute mess the past day, and we had an open marriage, so I did have a girlfriend for the past 6 years. When she first suggested it, I didn't agree, but as she could sleep with me and I became more sexually frustrated, I asked her first if I could, and she said only if she got to meet her. My girlfriend and my wife got along great, and she is devastated. She came over and I just held her. This was after the kids were taken out by my parents and our friend. I even slept with her. I'm the worst, I know. When the kids came back, they thought my girlfriend was just a good friend. My parents made food and lots of it. We opened the letter she wrote to each of us, as well as a video of her smiling and saying everything would be okay. I had to have my girlfriend read mine because I just couldn't. She said I was her everything and that I was the best thing to happen to her. I love her still so much. Half of me died when she died. She said I will know how to take care of my children, and that there is nothing I can't do. Her video said that even though she's gone, she will be with them, and that's when we gave my kids their build of bear animals with a voice box that said, I love you. I will always love you, and something personal to them. I have one, two. I, unfortunately, made the mistake of bringing up watching the Power Rangers. Jay screamed, I don't want to watch it with you. I want to watch it with you, Mom. And he ran upstairs to his room. There's a crawl space that's decorated to be his space that he can lock, and he just sat in there, and I decided he needed time alone. Kay was really upset and sat on my lap crying. Elle ran to my parents, and M grabbed the older dog while trying to pick up the younger one. They're both toy poodles, but as an 8-year-old she can't pick up 2 of them. I just wish I had kept my mouth shut. I didn't even think about what mentioning the Power Rangers would do to them. I begged everyone to eat, and my daughter said she'd only eat if I did, so I put on a smile and started eating, even though I wanted to throw up. Kay and Elle had a few bites, but Jay refused, and when I went upstairs with a bowl of food and opened his space, he screamed at me to get out and threw his shoes at me. I left the food in his space and relocked the door. Jay and his mom were really close, but ever since we told the kids my wife had 6, and then 2 months to live, they've been cold and distant. I think they're guilty. Nobody slept last night. The old dog came onto my bed and started howling while clawing at my wife's spot. Maybe she could smell the death. Maybe she just knew. Maybe she's just a dog, but I couldn't deal with it. And I put her in M's room and said, don't let her out. My girlfriend did not sleep in my bed. I'm not ready for that yet, not will I be for a while, and the kids would get really upset. She instead slept on the floor in M's room at her own insistence. Out of all of my children, M is the one handling this the best. She even laughed last night while hanging out with my girlfriend. She was probably the only one to get any sleep. This morning I checked on Jay, and he said he wanted to be alone and threw more things at me, but I just went up to him and hugged him, saying I love him matter what, and so does his mother. He just cried and I asked him to eat, but he said he wouldn't, and I told him he had to. Jay has shut down emotionally, and Kay and Elle aren't any better. Em, on the other hand, I don't know why or how, but she's okay. She carries the dog everywhere, and she and my girlfriend have always gotten along, so she has gravitated towards her. The hospital called and said after the autopsy, not only had the cancer my wife had spread to her bones, which I didn't even know it could be there, but she had an aneurysm. They did an MRI to find the cancer in her brain, and now they say there was a fucking aneurysm, that they didn't catch that burst. I absolutely lost it, and I'm not proud, but I just started yelling and cursing at them that they were incompetent, and they were the reason she died. I feel especially bad now because that was probably just some poor secretary who didn't get paid enough to take that abuse. I just broke down after. Her biological father, who we found out about through 23andMe, is devastated because he never got to meet her, and her mom said she'll hurt the man if she sees him. He is staying with us as he applies for U.S. citizenship from Scotland, but he video called us and made my children laugh with the way he talks, which made me smile. He didn't even mean to make them laugh, but he'll take it. He is coming to the funeral, as by the time it happens, which I've reserved a spot for Sunday, he'll have been quarantined for 10 days. He's already been here for almost a week. Now we're at the point where I can't even connect with my boys. But the worst is JJ won't talk to anyone, Jay won't eat, and then it is sporadic at best. Kay and Elle are upset, but will eat here and there. I'm so scared Jay is going to hurt himself. Someone checks up on him every hour, and he's usually in his space. My wife had a key, and I have a key so we can watch him. I know it's only been a day, and I know I can't take away the hurt, otherwise I really would. I know they need time, and anything anyone can say is appreciated. Thank you, and I'm sorry this is so heavy.
If you would like to see more videos like this, please hit the thumbs up button to like the video. Also comment, share, and subscribe.